This morning, I had another talk with the German Chancellor, Herr Hitler. And here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine. We regard the agreement signed last night as symbolic of the desire of our two peoples never to go to war with one another again.
When Hitler rose to power, no one believed that he would actually do the things that he said.
You know, our history teaches us something very simple. When an enemy says he's going to annihilate you, believe him.
Iran today poses a danger that threatens to engulf the entire world in chaos.
A nuclear-armed Iran is a grave danger to the peace and security of the entire world.
Diplomacy has failed.
Will sanctions work?
If diplomacy doesn't work, the clock could run out. We've wasted years on failed diplomacy. There's no chance that Iran will be talked out of its nuclear weapons program.
Iran is believed to be expanding right now its uranium enrichment activity deep inside of a mountain bunker.
Iran has tripled the pace of production of 20% grade uranium. They're transferring their facilities underground to be immune.
Time is running out.
They're racing towards acquiring a nuclear weapon.
None of us can afford to wait much longer.
ایران ملت‌های منطقه با مشت محکم دهن شما خواهند وأن تكون قنبلة ذرية إيران وباكستان قنابل ضد إسرائيل ونهتف كما هتفنا في طهران مار جبار إسرائيل مار جبار أمريكا.
For the sake of our prosperity, for the sake of our security, for the sake of our children, Iran must
Stop.
Be
Iran.
Stop.
Now. Last time, the world was silent. This time, our voices will be heard.
What is a pledge? The pledge is a solemn promise to do something. Hello, I'm Tony Perkins. Our nation was founded with a pledge over 236 years ago. With a firm reliance on God, our founders signed the Declaration of Independence. They pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to each other. The United States of America was born that day. As Christians, we pledge our lives to Jesus Christ. We pledge allegiance to the flag. We pledge to tell the truth. We pledge our lives to one another. We pledge to raise our kids with God's help. And many of us pledge to serve our country in the U.S. military. On September the 9th, Christians across America will gather to make a pledge. We're calling it I Pledge Sunday. I Pledge Sunday could be the largest gathering of Christian voters before the election. This historic event will be a blessing to you, your friends, and families. But more than that, I'm asking all of us to pledge to do three things. This election is so vital to our nation. First, let's pledge to pray for the upcoming election. Second, let's prepare by encouraging our friends to register to vote. And third, let's participate by all of us voting on November the 6th. I'm convinced we need to see our role this November as a sacred pledge that we're making to each other, just like the founders. Once again, lives are on the line, big lives and little lives. Fortunes may be lost, small fortunes and big fortunes. More Americans will decide whether to protect marriage or redefine it. During I Pledge Sunday, we'll stand together from churches across the country and publicly appeal to the Supreme Judge of the universe, which is a right that we enjoy today, but it is a right we may lose tomorrow. So much is at stake. Thank God our founders established the consent of the governed so we the people could decide where we go from here. I want to invite you and your church family to join me as I host I Pledge Sunday. I promise it will be an evening you won't soon forget. All the details are on our website, ipledgesunday.org. Join us in answering the call to faith, family, and freedom.
To all who are looking down, holding on to hearts still wounding. For those who've yet to find it, the place is near where love is moving. Cast off the robes you're wearing, set aside the names that you've been given. May this place of rest in the fold of your journey bind you to hope. You will never walk alone in the shelter of each other. We will live, we will never walk alone in the shelter of each other. To all who are looking down, holding on to hearts still wounding. For those who've yet to find it, the place is near where love is moving. Cast off the robes you're wearing, set aside the names that you've been given. May this place of rest in the fold of your journey bind you to hope. You will never walk alone in the shelter of each other. We will live, we will never walk alone in the shelter of each other. Your arms around us. walk alone. In the shelter of each other, we will never walk alone. In the shelter of each other, your arms are all around us. And your arms are all around us. And your arms are all around us. Go into the world, showing how much He loves you. Walk in the world in merciful ways. He loves you. He loves you. Emmanuel on earth. Yours is the body, the hands and the feet, and yours are the eyes to look compassionately, to bless you and me, bless you and me. He will bless you and me. Go into the world, showing how much He loves you. Walk in the world, meaningful ways. He loves you. He loves you. Emmanuel on earth. God with us on earth. Yours is the body, the hands and the feet, and yours are the eyes to look compassionately, to bless you and me, bless you and me. He will bless you and me, to bless you and me, bless you and me, to bless you and me. Go into the world, showing how much He loves you.
one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
Every service member has an obligation, not just that they can refuse a legal order or an unlawful order. They have an obligation to. They have to. And so they have to make a decision for themselves where that line is.
That anyone can understand why these people, after 6 days, are still in this filthy, miserable convention center. Why are they still here? There's the freeway here. I tell you what I would have done, what I would still do, I would say, let them walk out of here. Let them walk away from the filth. Let them walk away from the devastation. Let them walk away from the dead bodies in here.
Let them walk out of there because I'm standing right above that convention center. And what they've done is they've locked them in there. The government said, you go here and you'll get help. Or you go in that Superdome and you'll get help. And they didn't get help. They got locked in there and they watched people being killed around them. And they watched people starving. And they watched elderly people not get any medicine. And now they know it's happening because we've been telling them repeatedly over and over every day. And you know what they're doing now? And I'm not blaming anyone. I'm telling you what's happening. They have set up a checkpoint at the bottom of this bridge. This is the bridge that takes you from New Orleans over into Gretna, from Orleans Parish into Jefferson's Parish. It's the only way out. It's the connection to the rest of the world. And they've set up a checkpoint, and anyone who walks out of that city now is turned around. You are not allowed to go to Gretna, Louisiana from New Orleans, Louisiana. Over there, there's hope. Over there, there's electricity. Over there, there's food and water. But you cannot go from there to there. I think the government will not allow you to do it. It's a fact.
I don't know, man. Let them walk out of here. Let them walk the hell out of here. Let them get on that interstate and walk out.
We had Walmart deliver 3 trucks of water, trailer trucks of water. FEMA turned them back. They said we didn't need them. This was a week ago. FEMA, we had 1,000 gallons of diesel fuel on a Coast Guard vessel docked in my parish. The Coast Guard said, come get the fuel right away. When we got there with our trucks, they got a word. FEMA says, don't give you the fuel. Yesterday, FEMA comes in and cuts all of our emergency communication lines. They cut them without notice. Our sheriff, Harry Lee, goes back in, he reconnects the line, he posts armed guards on our line and says no one's getting...
Before we issued our declaration of 10 orders that we will not obey. And what those are designed to do is to get the troops thinking ahead of time about where the line of the sand is in advance. And that's what we're hearing in feedback from people in National Guard units is that in Katrina, that's kind of what happened, is the police and the military there, the National Guardsmen, were caught off guard and really hadn't thought about it in advance.
Walking up and down these streets, you don't want to think about the stuff that you're going to have to do. Somebody pops around the corner. Let me shoot an American.
And what we're hearing is that it won't be the same way next time. There'll be more who will say, no, I'm not going to do that.
1962. And as I'm saying, I will be celebrating my 50th wedding anniversary in just a few days. In fact, the matter is, it will be on the 9th. I remember the date, but the day is this September, is this Sunday. This Sunday is a special Sunday for our church. If you would like to know more about our services on Sunday, I would encourage you to go to iPledgeSunday.org, iPledgeSunday.org, and find out more about it. We're going to be having our morning services at 11 a.m. Then at 6 p.m. we'll have our evening services, along with thousands of other churches around America, simulcasting a event called I Pledge Sunday. We're going to give 3 pledges on that Sunday night at 6 o'clock here in California. Pledge number 1 is to pledge, I pledge, we pledge to pray for the election. Number 2, I pledge to prepare for the election. By preparation, I mean I'm going to make sure I am registered to vote. And as many people as I can come in contact with, I'm going to make sure they're registered to vote. And if they're not, I'm going to encourage them to do so. On Saturday, as a matter of fact, we will be having a voter registration emphasis here at our church at an event called Salt and Light, a Salt and Light training session. But I would encourage you, number 1, to pledge to pray for the election. Number 2, I would ask you to prepare for the election. Be registered, get other people registered to vote, drive people to the polling office, whatever you can do to help. And thirdly, we're asking you to pledge not only to pray and to prepare, but we're asking you to pledge to vote your biblical principles. Now, whether it has to do with laws that control the family or laws that control other things, whatever it might be, we ask you to pledge to vote your Judeo-Christian biblical principles. Now, there's a couple ways to do that. Number 1, you can make sure that any bill or any law that you're voting on, if you vote for it, make sure it has a good Judeo-Christian principle behind it. If it does not, vote it down. And secondly, vote your biblical principles by voting for men who are biblically sound that are running for president and vice president. Mormon theology is not sound. It's ridiculous. Muslim theology is not sound. It's ridiculous. And I'll not go into all of that right now, but just simply suffice it to say, both of those religions are anti-Bible and very ridiculous. Now, there are 2 men that are running on the American Independent Party of California, as well as the Americas Party. The American Independent Party candidates are twofold. Number 1, for president, Tom Hoefling. If you want to find out more about Tom, go to Tom Hoefling, Hoefling, TomHoefling.com, TomHoefling.com, and vote for him for president. He is a biblically sound, principally sound individual running for president. And vice presidential candidate is also biblically sound, Dr. Robert Ornelas. So vote your principles, vote biblical principles. Now, we're going to shift now away from politics, or maybe not, but we're going to shift to a caller. Caller, are you there?
I am, Pastor Drake. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, and who are we talking with?
My name is Timothy Eldred. I'm the president of Christian Endeavor International.
Christian Endeavor International, and tell us a little bit about that organization, would you please?
Well, Christian Endeavor's been around for 131 years. It's considered the father of modern youth ministry. Started in the late 1800s by Dr. Francis Clark, who was struggling, trying to keep his young people engaged in their faith after they hit about the age of 18, and which is much of what we're struggling with in the church today. And so he gathered 57 young people together one night, and he promised them two things. He said, number one, I believe you can make the same level of commitment to Christ as adults can. And number two, so I promise to never do anything for you in the church you can learn to do for yourselves. And those 57 young people became 4 million all over the world within 15 years, and the movement continues to grow.
Now, when was that? What year was that?
1881.
1881. Well, I don't go quite back that far, but I do go back a little ways.
I don't either.
I do go back to the early Jesus movement. I sort of cut my spiritual teeth with a man by the name of J. Vernon McGee, and another fellow by the name of Arthur Blessett, and another fellow by the name of Chuck Smith, and I could name some other names, but primarily in the 70s and 80s with the Jesus movement. And I was much younger then, of course. I'm 68 now, but I was much younger then, and I was working with what we called the youth movement. I was a youth pastor in the church. I later became the pastor, and now I am the senior pastor here at the First Southern Baptist Church of Buena Park. I also have the privilege, and I'm not trying to say this to, I know we're going to talk about you and your group, but just so you know who I am, in 2000, a friend of mine and I decided that God wanted us to start a prayer movement, and we titled the prayer movement. It's a long title. We weren't aware really at that point about internet and knowing how to abbreviate, but we called it the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C. Now, we since have called it Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C.com. But we started it in January of 2000. Every year, several times a year, we go to Washington, D.C. to pray. Starting in 2010, when the founder passed away and went home to be with the Lord, and when my wife went home to be with the Lord, I decided to bring on a co-chairman to help me, as well as we decided at that point with the new co-chairman that we would go to Washington, D.C. at least once a month. And we have done that. In fact, we will be in Washington on the 24th. We don't go there to lobby. We don't go there to protest. We don't go there to march. We don't go there to demonstrate. Many of us have done all of those things and will do those things in the future. But when the Congressional Prayer Conference of D.C. goes to D.C. on the 24th, we will be there to pray for the full week. And we encourage you or anyone else to join us either literally on the Hill or join us on a prayer line or join us on television, whatever you feel free to do. Now, with all of that in mind, you might guess, and my audience certainly knows, that I am indeed very concerned about our country, but even on a positive note, I am very encouraged when I see prayer movements and prayer initiatives. We started a prayer movement here in addition to the Congressional Prayer Conference every day at 5 a.m. California time. We have done now since 2002 a 2-hour prayer meeting by telephone. Now, with all of that in mind, you might have guessed and might imagine that I was drawn to your press release, and I'm going to quote that press release, and then I'm going to turn it over to you to tell us what God is doing. Ladies and gentlemen, what drew my attention was this press release. Nationwide prayer initiative aims to enlist 1 million people, and it says contact Timothy Elred. Timothy, thank you for putting up with my diatribe, and please share with us your press release.
Well, Pastor, back in April, we were in meetings with some ministry partners in Los Angeles and Christian
Yes.
And as you know, in your years of youth ministry and now moving into roles of leading youth workers in your church, the young people that we serve in this nation today have a callous on their heart of low expectations.
Yeah.
The only way to break through the hearts of the generation is through prayer.
I agree.
And the only way to break through anyone's heart to see transformation take place is through the power of prayer. We can plan and we can program and we can present, but prayer is where transformation takes place. We've seen now nearly 500,000 young people in 70 countries participate with adults in this one-on-one pray with you resource that we have provided the Christian Endeavor. And as we looked at 2013, trying to rally another million young people to pray with an adult, understand their identity in Christ, my frustration was in our conversation, it's really difficult in America to get the church to pray with you when the church doesn't pray.
Yes.
We have more response in the UK, throughout Europe, South America, Central America, Africa. We have seen more adults and more churches respond to the call to pray with youth quicker, with more urgency than we have in the United States. And it may be a complacency and an issue of prayer in general. And I said, if we can get America to pray for its felt need this fall, perhaps God will not only show mercy to our unified, intentional, purposeful prayer campaign, but also reveal to us what our greatest need truly is. Because America's issues are not political. Now, obviously, there are political issues. There are all kinds of struggles and challenges that face our nation, but they're rooted in a spiritual problem.
Well, brother, I've often said, and I believe it would bear repeating and also go along with what you're saying, and that is simply this. What we see in political circles and what we see happening politically is not the problem. The problem is a spiritual problem. What you and I see and what we're complaining about, i.e. political problems, those are like going to the doctor and saying, my nose is running, I'm sneezing, I'm coughing, I'm achy, and the doctor says, okay, that's what your problem is. No, the doctor says, well, let's find out what's causing your runny nose, your coughing, your aching, and he finds out and runs tests and says, hey, you've got a virus, you've got a cold, whatever. But that is the problem. All of those other things are symptoms. And what we see in America today, the Democratic Party removing God's name, that's not the problem. That's the symptom. And I believe you're right on target by getting us to the right doctor, and that is Dr. Prayer.
It is, and we could, and one of the things we have determined, because we have on our nationwide team, we actually have both parties and other parties and independent individuals involved. Unfortunately, you find that in any one particular party, you've got some extremists who you hear more than others. One of the things we have said is we are not praying for a political outcome, we're praying for a spiritual renewal. And of the people who are asking to pray for 31 days, they can learn more about that at 1millionpray.com. And when they go, we're asking them specifically, but don't pray for your candidate, don't pray for your party. Parties aren't going to change our issue. Pray for a spiritual renewal and let God then begin to make changes. Pray for the real problem. Not, like you said, don't pray for the symptom. Pray for the problem, for spiritual renewal and a new work of God in our nation. And I believe that God will begin to change hearts, and actually needs to change hearts on both sides of the political spectrum.
Right. Well, you're absolutely right, my brother, and I really do like your press release. I like your thoughts. I want to be supportive here on the Wiley Drake Show. We do more than a dozen live television programs every week, And I would love to have. Where are you located, by the way?
I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay, well, if you're ever in the Los Angeles area, or if I'm in Grand Rapids, I would love to do a live broadcast with you on the Wiley Drake Show and take it worldwide on television. In the meantime, we'll have to suffice it to simply put your audio on. Your audio is going around the world as we speak on crusaderadio.com as well as ustream.tv. And we are in agreement with you. We have right now, for example, one of our projects that we're involved in is with the Family Research Council, and we have 1,452,600 people in churches signed up to do a thing called Call to Fall. And we do that on a daily basis as well as every one of our services. And I am very proud as a Californian to say that we indeed are leading the nation. We may be the land of fruits and nuts and shake and bake, but we're leading the nation. And in California, we have 314 churches and people signed up for the calltofall.com. Now, you're in Michigan, correct?
Correct.
We have 73 churches signed up in Michigan. And I'm very proud to say that California is still the leader with 314. And the closest we have are several other states that are in the 100 as well. But thank you for sharing with us. And we encourage all of our friends to go to the Christian Newswire website and see your news report, see your press release there at our friends Gary McCullough and Christian Newswire. And I went to your website, 1millionpray.com, and it says 1 million, 1 month, 1 nation. 1 million people in October 2012 will be praying for America. And we welcome that extra 1 million to the 1,300,000 that we already have and to the others that are praying that we're not even aware of. But we do thank you so much. Tell our listening audience, if you would, how they can get in touch with your organization. Ladies and gentlemen, go to ChristianNewsWire.com, print and download the Nationwide Prayer Initiative, and its aim to enlist 1 million people. I want you to know, my dear friend Timothy, I am available to be enlisted, and I am available to be a part of it. And I thank you, and I hope all of my listening audience all over the world will equally be turned on by this. So share whatever else you would. Ladies and gentlemen, Timothy Eldred, Christian Endeavor International. Share with us, my brother, whatever else you'd like to share.
Pastor, I just want to thank you for your commitment to pray. Until God's people learn to pray, we can't hear what his heart is. And we need to see the church rise up and again learn that when we do less, he does more. I love the call to fall. When we learn to fall and do less, and we spend more time on our knees and more time at his throne of grace and trust him to do more, we'll learn that we can rest. Because when men labor, God doesn't need to work. When God works, men don't need to labor.
Amen.
The only thing I would close with is our call and challenge to rally 1 million, and by God's grace, millions of people to pray earnestly, intentionally during that month of October leading up to our election. Our greatest desire is that heart of the church would be turned to hear the heart of God and God's unique call on a young generation. We have, across the world, and in our nation, in our churches, we have young people who are ready, willing, and able to be used by God if we would trust God enough to use them. And there is a divide between congregations and generations because we don't understand each other. And so when I've got 2 teenage sons, and to get to understand who they are, and to get them to understand who they are, we're not born believing in who that this will be a generation that God uses to extremely, in powerful ways, fulfill the Great Commission, usher in the return of Christ. I believe that this generation, if we would, again, not have to worry about being educated experts with a ton of experience, the God would raise up young people, maybe through praying for America. We would then be able to pray with America's youth or with America's future and let this generation turn our nation back to God.
Well, you're absolutely right, my brother, and I want you to know that, as you obviously know, we're committed to the Call to Fall, folks. That's CALL, the number 2, and FALL, call2fall.com. We're also committed to this nationwide prayer initiative that is being started to get 1 million people involved. And my dear brother, Timothy, I would like to say to you, this telephone number that you called in on is available 5 days a week at least, sometimes 7 days a week, but at least 5 days a week. This telephone number is available to you or to any organization that wants to promote prayer. We're live on the air right now around the world on Crusade Radio and Ustream.tv. We've been on for 21 minutes. We'll be on for another, for the rest of the hour. And I would like to say to you, as you encourage your teenagers, my teenagers are all grown and gone, but I do have teenage grandchildren, and I'm going to encourage them to be a part of this nationwide prayer initiative. And I want you as a leader, I want you to lead those young people and let them know that this program, the Wiley Drake Show, that's on every day. Now, are you on Central or Eastern time?
We're on Eastern over here.
Okay, so my show is on at 12 noon, which is what it is now in your part of the country. My show will be on again tonight at 8 p.m. your time. And I don't know if my producer told you, but we would welcome you back at 8 o'clock tonight because we will have almost a completely different audience at that time that we have right now. So we would welcome you back. In the days ahead, Monday through Friday at 12 noon and at 8 p.m., I would welcome a call on this number that you called in on, and that will put you on Crusade Radio as well as on television audibly. And we would welcome you, and we would welcome any young person. You're talking about this nationwide prayer meeting, appealing to the young people. I'm an old man. I'm 68 years old, but I still feel young. I'm still very healthy, and I'm still active for the Lord and plan to be till Jesus comes. But I would like to offer to any youth group, any young person, free airtime on the Wiley Drake Show if they're willing to promote this prayer movement or any other prayer movement. And we're here. You have the phone number. Please call back tonight between 8 and 9 p.m. Please have some of your young people call us. We'd love to have their testimonies on the Wiley Drake Show saying, I'm a young person from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I am supportive of the 1 million prayer event and so forth. So we would welcome that. Please give that number to anyone, young person or old person, but give that number to anyone, and we'd be more than happy to have them call in and share with us their involvement in October with their church, their Christian group, with these 31 days of thousands of congregations, 1 million people coming together to pray. My brother, what else would you share with our worldwide audience?
Pastor, as I was having a conversation this morning with a friend who's an evangelist who travels the nation doing school assemblies, we were discussing the power of, because this prayer campaign really began enlisting 1 million adults. You know, you can rally, you and I both know that you can rally intercessors to pray at any given time. They'll stop and pray for anything, intercessors will.
Yeah.
This is a time for the church to pray, not just leaders, not just intercessors, nation than it has been to rally 1 million adults to pray.
Yeah.
It should be the other way around.
I agree.
The adults, we should be leading them. We should be discipling them in the first step of prayer for their life. They should see that example from us. But yet, I do find from Michigan to every other state that God has blessed this ministry over 130 years to be all over the world. So we cross this coast, the coast of this nation by far, to say to these young Christian leaders, 13, 14, 15, 18 years old, would you pray for 31 days for America? They're quicker than you and I are, more than likely. Not maybe you and I, but some others. But me too. I'm a little callous. I'm old enough to be callous and softened by God quite often. They're quicker to respond to the call to prayer than my generation, your generation has been recently, and maybe we're going to learn from them what it means to be one nation under God again.
Well, my brother, that is the goal that we have. When I say we, me, my church here at First Southern Baptist of Buena Park, the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C., we have a thing called telephonic prayer that we started in 2002. And we do a prayer conference call every day, 7 days a week now, since 2002. And I'm not saying that to brag on us. I'm saying it to say that it is available to you, to your young people, to anyone. But you're right, it's tough to get people involved. We've been putting that prayer call number out for years, and we still only have a handful. And I commend you, Christian Endeavor International, for bringing about out of Grand Rapids there this announcement, announcing the launch of Pray 31, an initiative, ladies and gentlemen, to enlist 1 million people in prayer for America. Now, if someone out there is listening to the Wiley Drake Show, they've just tuned in, or maybe they're a regular listener, they would like to know. I've already told them go to ChristianNewsWire.com, but where else would they go to find out more information?
1millionpray.com is the website that will give them all the information. It's all spelled out, ONE, 1millionpray.com. They can read an open letter and appeal from me. They can read about the resources and materials they can get for their congregation. The 31-day U.S. Prayer Atlas that takes them through the entire month of October, from coast to coast, to all the territories, to praying for all the centers of power in our nation. And we're really, more than anything, just praying for the Spirit of God to lead our nation, to penetrate the hearts of those who lead us, as Timothy tells us, as Paul tells Timothy, to pray for those in authority over you, that you may live in peace. We need to take that serious.
Amen.
So this tool, the tools that we are offering churches for this campaign are all found at 1millionpray.com.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard this, and we encourage you to go to that webpage. If you go to that webpage, and I just did while he was talking, it says there 1 million, 1 month, 1 nation, 1 million people in October of 2012 will be praying for America. The question is, to you and to I, will you take the challenge? Will you take the challenge? And you will see there a picture of Timothy. You'll see the letterhead there and a letter, open letter there. I would encourage you to go there and read Timothy's letter, and to read more and to find out more about Pray 31. And Timothy, thank you so much for sharing with us. Remember now, I want to tell you, we are here every day, Monday through Friday, at 12 noon and 8 p.m. And if you do not want to come on and promote it, that's not my fault. You have the phone number.
For the open invitation.
You have the phone number, my brother, and you're open. Now, let me do one other thing. You have that 559 number. That is a number into the studio. If you call and that number is busy, let me give you my personal cell phone number. My personal cell phone number is 714-865-8132. And if you ever need to call me personally, you or anybody else is welcome to do that. Now, the number that we gave you, that 559 number, is actually into the studio, and they put you right on the air with me. If you dial the 714-865-8132, that's my personal cell phone number, but I do still answer it even when I'm on the program and on the radio and television. So, ladies and gentlemen, Timothy Eldred, President, Christian Endeavor International, talking to us about a month of prayer for America. Folks, if we ever needed it, we certainly need it now. God said to you and to me, if my people, folks, that's Timothy, that's Wiley, if my people who are called by my name, the Christian Endeavor International, the First Southern Baptist Church, the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C., etc., if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, God says, I then will hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal their land. Timothy, thank you so much. Any other word before you go?
No, Pastor, thanks so much for the time. I'll call back in and speak with you before next week I leave for Rome. God has opened up doors for us to work throughout public schools and with evangelical churches, with Catholic churches throughout Rome, throughout Italy, to give the nation of Italy to pray with youth. And so I'm looking forward to returning there next week. So in the midst of a national prayer movement, we continue with our global initiatives of praying with youth. And so, I would just ask for your continued prayers and support. And I thank you again for the open invitation. And before I leave the country next week, I will call back in and look forward to a conversation with you again, brother.
Well, we would love to have you call in any day, Monday through Friday, as I said, 12 noon your time, 8 p.m., and you can figure out the time change to Italy. And by the way, we just had a man on recently from Italy, and he gave us a report on a mission trip live on the ground. He looked at the time zone. He figured it out, what time it was here. He called, and he told me later in email that we talked for several minutes. He gave us a report from Italy on his cell phone, and it only cost him about $5. And so they've got some good systems there now. We'd love to hear a report from you while you're there. Just remember, we're on Pacific Coast time, and the number that the time that you need to figure from probably is your own time. I don't remember how many hours it is from you to Italy, but you can figure that out. We'd love to have a report from Timothy Eldred live from Italy.
Well, that's about a 9-hour difference, and usually I don't sleep during the time zone changes anyway. It's hard on my body, so don't be surprised if you hear my voice.
We'd love to hear from you, my brother, and get an Italian report.
Pastor, God bless you. Have a great day. I'll be talking to you soon.
God bless you and have a great day. Ladies and gentlemen, Timothy Eldred, President, Christian Endeavor International, and he'll be calling back, so he says. We'll find out if he calls back. And I do want to encourage you, go to their website, and I'm going to go back here so I can get it and make sure I get it exactly right for you. You want to go to the Christian Newswire, pull up their press release. Nationwide Prayer Initiative aims to enlist 1 million people. And if you want to go, it's 1millionpray.com. 1millionpray.com. Now, we're hoping to hear from our good friend Flip Benham. Haven't heard from him in a while, but we'll try to see if we can roust him up wherever he's at and let him tell us what God's doing with him, through him, and sometimes even in spite of him. See, I know Flip personally, so I know. I'm only kidding, Flip. Don't get excited. But I am going to try to reach him. Don't know where in the world he's at. 980, don't know what that is, but we'll try to find out here. See if we can get Flip Benham on the line with us. Hello, Flip Benham, Wiley Drake, how are you? You're live on the air with me. Go ahead.
Hey, Wiley, how are you? Well, we're right here in the corner of South College and Stonewall Avenue, right at the convention center, and we're just giving them heaven, Wiley.
Is that Charlotte?
Yeah, downtown Charlotte. Oh, well, they call it uptown here. You don't call it downtown. You call it uptown Charlotte, and we're you know what? We're giving the Democrats a little pat on the back for what happened at 5:30 last night on their convention floor when they invited God back into the party platform, decided that Jerusalem really was the capital of Israel. I mean, it was an amazing thing that some of these conservative Democrats decided to stand up and get God back in this party. Unfortunately, there are a whole bunch of folks that aren't real happy about that. Yeah, the radical homosexual agenda, those that demand abortion on demand for any reason at all times at taxpayers' expense. But here we are. And what a battle to be fought. You know, when they passed that thing, when that vote got passed last night at 7 o'clock, when they invite God back into the Democratic Party, they got booed. They got booed one time, then another time, and then they got booed a third time. So you can see the great fissure that took place. But the Democrats really did rise up, and they stood, and they found out that they can win some battles, that they don't have to be controlled by the homosexual agenda. Do you know, Wiley Drake, that there are 457 practicing homosexual sodomites that are delegates? Hey, Al, I got to tell you something. Mr. Frank, you know what? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You stole that election, and you're a liar. You're a liar. Al Franken just went by. I thought we'd give him some heaven.
Yeah, there you go. Give him heaven, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, Flip Benham. You've seen him on my show before. And when he was on my show, he was baptizing our sister Norma McCorvey.
That was so great. I tell you, God just does miracles when the Church of Jesus Christ shows up. And that's what we did. We went to an abortion mill and moved our office right next to a Choice for Women abortion mill in Dallas, Texas. And it wasn't but about 3 months. And Miss Norma was not only coming over to us and asking us to pray for her, but she asked Jesus into her heart because of 2 little girls that just loved her right into the kingdom. And then she was set free. We got to baptize her. She's a born-again Christian. That was in July. It was July 24th. 1995, and she hasn't turned back since, and I just talked with her recently, and she's doing well, and you know, this is what happens when we just allow the salt of the earth to get into the earth and out of the closet. You know, when we let the light of the world to shine on the streets, when we allow the theology of heaven to become biography in our streets, we win. We win because we give God an opportunity to show up.
Well, you know, you're absolutely right, Flip, and I've often said I read the last chapter of the book, and we win, but I don't want to wait till the end to win. I want to win now.
Amen, brother, amen. Amen. Amen, Wiley. Well, it's good out here in these streets, and you see all of these folks. There are thousands of them. But, you know, here's the good news. We had prayed that God would not let the Democratic Convention go to St. Louis. We prayed that God would bring them right here to us in Charlotte. And brother, I want to tell you, this has become the Democratic Convention's worst nightmare. You know, we actually believe that Jesus is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords here in the city of Charlotte.
Amen.
At 9,000 Christians this past Sunday all meet at Verizon Wireless Arena and amphitheater, and we were praying, we were repenting. There were the great Christian leaders of the city and over 1,000 churches in the city. It was the most amazing thing, Wiley, that you've ever seen, and yet it was totally unreported by the media. And let me tell you about the Charlotte 714 crew, and the reason they call it 714, of course, is for the 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from the wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven. I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land. And so what we're doing is just calling these pastors to repentance. So we all gather together at the Verizon Arena. And it was the biggest thing, bigger than anything else that was going on at the DNC as they were preparing to get ready. And yet they never reported much of it. But what these pastors did was they wanted to present to every arriving delegate at every hotel, and there were over 50 hotels that they were coming into, a present, a gift, and some literature and some gospel tracts. And the Democratic National Convention told the leader, David Benham, they told him that they did not believe that the pastors of Charlotte reflected the views of the Democratic Party. I mean, that was amazing. So therefore they would not allow the pastors of this city to welcome the folks and the arriving delegates into the city with a special gift. But they did, Wiley Drake. They did invite Juma prayer at the DNC on the Friday before it began. Yes, they opened the DNC with the Friday Juma prayer, and they said there'd be over 20,000 Muslims that would be gathered together at Marshall Park. Well, we were right there. We figured if the devil's going to throw a party, it's imperative that the Church of Jesus Christ show up, and we did. And as we did, there were maybe, at the maximum, 200 Muslims that showed up for the Juma prayer. And there were probably more Christians than there were Muslims at the Friday Juma prayer. And that's why this has really become a nightmare for the Democrats.
Well, you're absolutely right, and we thank the Lord for that. Some of our preachers, we had almost a dozen preachers in New Orleans at Southern Decadence. They had to go to jail for a few days, but they're out, and they're there in Charlotte. Our good friend Reuben Israel is there. And if you,
I got to see him.
Well, he's there. You can't miss Reuben. He's a big guy.
Yeah, I know Reuben well.
And he's there, and we talked to him yesterday, and we're thankful that he's there preaching. We're thankful that you're there. Flip Benham, tell our listening audience, if they're listening, I know who you are, but tell them your organization. Tell them how they can get in touch, would you?
Yeah, get in touch with us at OperationSaveAmerica.org. That's OperationSaveAmerica.org. Love to see you. Love to hear from you. Wiley, it's great to talk with you. And by the way, they got to move President Obama from the Bank of America Stadium into Time Warner Arena because there aren't enough people that are going to show up. Come on.
How about that? Well, even the president sometimes loses his crowd, huh?
We're having a time.
All right, OperationSaveAmerica.org, ladies and gentlemen. Flip Benham live from Charlotte on the Wiley Drake Show. My good brother, God bless you. Keep up the good work. Tell Reuben I said hey, and all the other friends there, tell them good morning. God bless them, and thank you so much.
God bless you.
God bless you, my brother. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Flip Benham. Flip Benham. Flip Benham is a pastor, a witness, a soldier for an organization called OperationSaveAmerica.com. OperationSaveAmerica.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we only have about 15 minutes left in this program. I'm going to see, we had Timothy Timothy, and also Flip Benham we've had on, and we left a message for another gentleman. Let me see if I can see his name, Matthew Farsi. We're going to see if we can get him. 90% of young women. Hello.
Hi.
Good morning. God bless you. Who do we have on the line with us?
This is Mike Fergentino from Marino, Wiley.
Hello, Mike. How are you, and who are you with?
I'm with the Marino Fathers and Brothers, also known as the Marino Society, which is the Foreign Mission Society of the U.S. Catholic Church.
Well, bless you, my brother, for your missions work. Now, did you put out a press release that got my producer's attention?
We sure did. We, every year for over 20 years, have been conducting a student essay contest for grade school and high school students all across the country. And each year we pick a different topic that's that's topical in the news. Last year we talked about Jesus and bullying, and this year we're focusing. Our theme is on new neighbors, asking students to focus on Jesus' teachings of to love your neighbor as you would love yourself, and how newcomers to a neighborhood, whether they're from elsewhere in the country or from foreign countries, sometimes feel a little uncomfortable or feel unwelcome in their new neighborhoods and new schools. And how would a student address such a situation? Experiencing interaction with a new neighbor.
Yeah. Well, brother, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike is on with us from the Maryknoll Fathers and Brothers. What a great organization for God. And I would encourage you to go to the website that we do our press releases on and that we get our information from, and that is ChristianNewsWire.com. You will find a press release there that says New Neighbors is the theme for Maryknoll Magazine's 2012 Student Essay Contest, as he's just talked about. And you can find that press release there with all the information. But, Mike, tell our listening audience a little bit more about this essay contest. Is it over? Is it in the future? What is the status?
This essay contest has just started, and it runs until Friday, November 9 of this year. And we provide about $2,900 in cash prizes to first, second, and third place winners in 2 different categories. And all the rules and regulations are on the Maryknoll website. And it's a way to engage young students, not just in Catholic schools, but it's open to students of all schools, private, religious, or public schools, who want to follow the teachings of Jesus and want to be better young people and to better serve their communities. And it's a way to get them to thinking a little more about helping, in this instance, helping their new neighbors this year.
Well, Mike, let me ask you a question. I'm a grandfather. I have grandchildren in school, and I have audience members that have children in school. If my grandkids or some of my audience kids would like to get involved in this essay contest, how do they do it? Where do they go? And what do they do?
Well, first of all, if they do attend a Catholic school, that information should be available to them through their school. If they do not, maybe another religious school or a private school or a public school, they can just go to our website, which is MaryknollSociety.org/essay, ESSAY, MaryknollSociety.org/essay, and there it will tell you all the rules, how to submit the information, and we'll talk more about the theme of new neighbors and exactly what we're looking for the students to write about and to send in. And from all those entries, and last year we had for our topic last year about how would Jesus deal with the issue of bullying, we had more than 7,000 students submit entries.
My goodness.
We encourage everyone, no matter what their religious background is, to get involved and write about the topic from their own experiences, and they just might win. And not only do they win some cash prizes for themselves, but the 2 top winning essays, one in each category, depending on age group. Grades 6 to 8 are in one division, grades 9 to 12 are in another section. The top 2 winners will have their essay published in Maryknoll Magazine next year, and all 6 of the finalists, the first, second, and third place winners in each category, will have their essays appear on the Maryknoll website early next year.
Well, and let me offer you this, my dear brother. We do our television and radio shows here every week, Monday through Friday, at 12 noon and 8 p.m. And when you get down to the end of this thing and you get the finalists and so forth, we would love to have them come on my show and broadcast them on the internet, television, Ustream.tv, around the world. They can come into the studio here in California, or you can bring me to wherever you're going to make the presentations. We'd be glad to do a live broadcast with you and for you. So keep that in mind, and let's make TV stars out of your winners.
Well, we certainly will keep that in mind, and when we determine the winners, when they're selected, of course, we would have to work with their schools and, of course, with their parents or guardians to make
sure.
And we'll look into it for you.
Well, we'd love to do that. It's available to you. Like I said, there's two ways. One is they can come here to the Los Angeles area, be in our studio, or we can bring the studio to them wherever they're at in one particular place. Just let us know. We'd be glad to do it.
Great. Thank you for the offer.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Give that website one more time if any of our students would be interested, how they can get in touch.
Okay, they can go right to our specific website is www.maryknoll, MARYKNOLL, maryknollsociety.org/essay, and they'll get right there and find everything that they need to do.
All right, my brother, thank you so much for the report. And by the way, I don't know if my producer told you, but we'll be doing another show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'd love to have you come back on and do this same report for our evening show at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Well, we'll see if we can be available, and we'll try our best to do that.
Thank you so much. God bless you, and have a great day. Mike,
thank you.
Thank you.
Too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Maryknoll Fathers and Brothers. Catholic organization, obviously. They have an essay contest. But, hey, Baptist kids, y'all can enter too. Presbyterian kids, Episcopalian kids, Pentecostal kids, Assembly of God kids. If you're in a school, if you are a school-age child, you can enter in. Now, I don't remember now, but they're going to have, let's see, the contest focuses on specific Christian message, Division 1, and let's see, here we go. Christian each year, and is open to all students in grades 6 to 8 and 9 to 12, and so forth. So go to Maryknoll and look it up, check it out, find out more about it, and God will be glad to give you an opportunity, and we'll be glad to give you an opportunity to be on the Wiley Drake Show. All right, that was Mike Verantino. And I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, but that's okay. He's probably used to that. I have people having trouble pronouncing Wiley, so, you never know. All right. He has now supposedly confirmed about now Kenneth Chan, National Religious Broadcasters, to propose solution to September 12th unveiling. And I'm not sure what that's all about. But he probably tried to get in and couldn't get in. Do we have a caller on the line? Hello, caller, are you there? Nope. All right, let me see if I can find out. Christian Newswire article, National Religious Broadcasters. Let's see if I can find that. I'm not finding it. National Religious, there we go, National Religious Broadcasters, and we're going to see if we can call. We've got about 6 minutes. So I'm going to do my best to get this last person in. We missed Matthew Farsi, but that's okay. We'll try to get him tonight if we can. Let's see if we can get Kenneth Chan. He was supposed to call in at 9:50. That was 4 minutes ago, but he probably got a busy tone and said, forget it. Is this Kenneth? Kenneth, this is Wiley Drake. I'm sure you probably got a busy tone. We had a long-winded previous interviewee, but my producer said that, is your last name Chan or Chan?
Chan, C-H-A-N.
C-H-A-N. Kenneth Chan, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to talk to us about his press release, and that press release says, and you can find it at Christian Newswire, it says, National Religious Broadcasters to propose a solution to new media censorship. Kenneth, tell us about that.
Well,
are you there? Kenneth, did we lose you? Kenneth, did we lose you? Hello? Well, we were trying to talk to Kenneth Chan, ladies and gentlemen.
Would you like to make a...
Well, let me try that. Let me try to get him one more time. We'll try one more time. 1-703-331-4520.
You have reached the office of Kenneth Chan, Director of Communications for National Broadcasters. I'm away from my office and return your call as soon as possible. Please leave your name and number. If you need immediate assistance, please dial 0 at any time during this message, and the receptionist will call. Please hold while I transfer you.
Well, we lost Kenneth Chan, National Religious Broadcasters.
Good afternoon, NRB.
Hello, this is Wiley Drake. I was just on the line with Kenneth Chan. We had him live on TV with us, but we lost him. Can you get him back for us?
I will certainly try. Just one moment and I'll transfer you.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try to get back to Kenneth Chan if we can. We got 4 minutes. Hello, Mr. Chan, are you there?
Hello, are you still there?
You still there?
Yes, just 1 minute. I seem to be having trouble with this transfer. One moment again.
Thank you. Well, we missed out with Matthew Farsi, but we did have Timothy Elred on with us. We did have Flip Benham.
Excuse me, can you hold just 1 moment? Let me see. I don't know exactly what the problem is here. Let me give you his direct line.
Okay.
703-331-4520.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm sorry for the problem.
All right, well, I'm going to try him one more time, ladies and gentlemen. We've got about 2 minutes, and Mr. Tech, we'll go over if I get him on. If not, we'll go off. 1-703-331-4520. We'll try Kenneth Chan one more time.
You have reached the office of Kenneth Chan.
All right, well, we're not able to get Kenneth Chan, so we'll let that go for now. Try to get him later, try to contact him, let him know that we were trying to get him. We're running out of time now. We got 2 minutes left, and I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening today. Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with God is our plan. We talked to Timothy Elred, prayer initiative for 1 million people to pray. We also talked to Flip Benham there in Charlotte, North Carolina, where they have put back in the Democratic Party platform, God is back on the platform, and Israel is back on the platform. Praise God for people who stood up and said enough is enough with this stupid Democratic Party. Now, Matthew Farsi was supposed to be on. Well, let's see who this is. Hello?
Well, Pastor, your producer here, I thought maybe I'd end the show by singing God Bless America.
All right, brother, hurry. You got a minute and a half.
While our troops are fighting far across the sea, let us all be thankful they fight to keep us free. Let us all be grateful for this land so fair as we raise our voices in this solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, Bob Bosworth. And Bob, give out your telephone number so people can reach you if they want to be a part of the Wiley Drake Show. Give your number, please.
Well, my number is 714-699-8657. 714-699-8657. I'm in the little town of Woodstock, Georgia, which is about 20 miles north of Atlanta.
All right. Now, let me just walk you down through your email. Number 1, Timothy Elred, we had on. Number 2, Flip Benham, we had on from Charlotte. Number 3, Matthew Farsi, we did not hear from. So follow up on that. We did have Mike Vergantino on with us from the New Neighbors program. Did a great job. And then we got Kenneth Chan on, but we lost him. We weren't able to talk to him at NRB. So if you would go down the list, reconfirm for tonight all of them, find out if Matthew Farsi can get on, and find out if Kenneth Chan can get on, and redo those for tonight. We'd appreciate it.
Well, I have one request of you. This pledge today that we're talking about on Sunday evening of the 9th of September, would you give me some further information about that? What website can that be found upon?
Okay, go to iPledgeSunday.org.
I got you.
iPledgeSunday.org. Bob Bosworth, thank you so much. God bless you. We're running over. We got to go. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.
Well, you did have a great show today, Pastor. God bless. Bye.
God bless you. Bye-bye. Thank you for your help. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Bob Bosworth. He is one of my schedulers, and if you would like to be scheduled for the Wiley Drake Show, he did a great job today. Every one of these were scheduled. We missed out on a couple of them, but that wasn't his fault. That was their fault. Mr. Chan, their National Religious Broadcasters phone system was messed up. Even his girl at the desk couldn't figure it out. And then we did miss out on Matthew Farsi. The 90% of young women say the poor economy impacts them daily. We'll talk more about that tonight, one way or the other. Hopefully we'll get Matthew Farsi in with us. Bob did a great job. God bless Bob Bosworth. He's even older than I am. But we thank the Lord for the opportunity to be here with you today. Remember, it's time for us to get out of here. Remember, do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. God bless you and have a great day.
This morning, I had another talk with the German Chancellor, Herr Hitler. And here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine. We regard the agreement signed last night as symbolic of the desire of our two peoples never to go to war with one another again.
When Hitler rose to power, no one believed that he would actually do the things that he said.
You know, our history teaches us something very simple. When an enemy says he's going to annihilate you, believe him.
Iran today poses a danger that threatens to engulf the entire world in chaos.
A nuclear-armed Iran is a grave danger to the peace and security of the entire world.
Diplomacy has failed.
Will sanctions work?
If diplomacy doesn't work, the clock could run out. We've wasted years on failed diplomacy. There's no chance that Iran will be talked out of its nuclear weapons program.
Iran is believed to be expanding right now its uranium enrichment activity deep inside of a mountain bunker.
Iran has tripled the pace of production of 20% grade uranium. They're transferring their facilities underground to be immune.
Time is running out.
They're racing towards acquiring a nuclear weapon.
None of us can afford to wait much longer.
ایران ملت‌های منطقه با مشت محکم دهن شما خواهند وأن تكون قنبلة ذرية إيران وباكستان قنابل ضد إسرائيل ونهتف كما هتفنا في طهران مار جبار إسرائيل مار جبار أمريكا.
For the sake of our prosperity, for the sake of our security, for the sake of our children, Iran must
stop.
Be
Iran.
Stop
now. Last time, the world was silent. This time, our voices will be heard.